So you can see the first slide I have here. This is Pickle Crow. I think the last time I presented, it didn't have as much snow. It has more snow again. Today was minus 45. I've got a few things here that you might like to see and point out. You can see we have great access. This is a great aerial shot. And you'll see just about here on this marker that I've got here, that this is where the old mill is. This is obviously access up through here. And when we get to the long section, this is really what we're talking about through here. That's what you're really looking at. 3.5 kilometres of strike, which is fabulous. So there we are. That's where we exist. Here's a 24-man camp. Here's the core stack. Here's the core shed here, just here. Here's the office. You can see there's plenty of facilities for a lot of people. We're really well equipped for infrastructure. The disclaimer, you can read that at your leisure. So what do we have here? Well, you'd all remember that we have 1 million ounces at 11.3 grams per tonne. I mean, this is really exciting stuff. And it seems to me that people really have not focused on the quality of the asset that we have here. This current phase of drilling that we have has successfully and repeatedly intersected extensions of this known mineralised structure that we have at Pickle Crow. Multiple high-grade lodes, which we'll talk about. Our latest was 5.6 metres at 33 grams per tonne from a very shallow 20 metres from surface. The diamond drilling continues with 4 rigs turning. We've completed about 20,000 metres to date. Further results will be ongoing in the next 4 to 5 months. Mineralisation remains open at strike, at depth, with multiple lodes still outside of this resource. Very exciting times for us, to be honest. And a lot of our focus now, which I'll take you through, is around this Shaft 3 area. We have great infrastructure. We've got this program that we keep talking about of 45,000 metres, so we still have an additional 25,000 metres to go. We've got a granted mining licence to 2067. I'm always fond of telling people I won't be here to see the end of that, but many of my colleagues will. And we're well funded, very well funded to see through this whole program. You'll remember that Pickle Crow was one of Canada's most prolific mines in its day. And just to remind you, it didn't stop in 1966 due to a lack of mineralisation. It finished up because it was uneconomic, with gold falling to a price of $35 an ounce. So we have a great outlook going forward, which I'll take you through, and we've got scope for further resource update. So I'm fond of saying, but I will repeat it again, that an asset is only an asset unless you have the people to exploit it properly. And I'm happy to announce that Darren Cook has recently joined the team. It's a great acquisition for us, a very good hire, and already in a very short period of time, he officially started on the 1st of February. In a very short period of time, he's made a fantastic impact on our current operations, so much so that some of the programs that he's put in place we're already following. So in his first 8 days, it's been quite remarkable. For mine, I'm the ex-founding chairman of Bellevue, and I left there in September 2019 to pursue these very things. I'm much more exploration orientated, but I'm lucky enough to have my fellow directors at Bellevue, both Steve Parsons and Mike Naylor. Great guys to have as non-executive directors. As I say, the CEO is now Darren Cook. Great credentials there. You can read those. And of course, Marcus Harden, who is at site as we speak and has been there since June last year and continues to stay there. And things are going very well for him. The classic corporate summary here. Finished up at 11 cents, got a market cap of 170 million, take off for roughly 30 million. And, we've got an unchallenging enterprise value of 140 million. That's really worth considering when I talk about the fact that if you look at all of the TSX listed and ASX listed companies and do any analysis of any of those that have got over 1 million ounce resource, where we are, in our estimation and my belief, the number one player with grade and 1 million ounces. Bellevue's up there as well, believe it or not. And there's only another one player that's got 10 gram plus. So really, in terms of valuation, it's very unchallenging. Second takeaway there is the board and management own quite a bit of the company. So all the shares that the board and management own today have been bought on market, no gifted shares whatsoever. Steve and I have participated in placements all the way through, and we'll continue to support where we can. And of course, one of the most gratifying things here is how, when we first started in January 2020, we had zero Australian or global institutional support. Today, over a quarter of our company is held by institutions both in North America, Europe, and of course, Australia. So we're pretty happy with that. So these are the key dates. This is what to expect from us. So you saw our 1st of September update, where we came out with 1 million ounces, 11.3 grams per tonne. You've seen our latest resource, our latest drill results, which have been fantastic. And they're all these near mine extensions that we talk about. And that's still currently in progress. And I'll take you through where our focus is in a couple of slides. But you can see what we'll be doing is our phase 3 program, phase 4 program, about resource definition and regional targeting. So we currently have 4 rigs that are just around a small area. But once we get the 5th and 6th rigs, we'll be looking at targeting that regional area, which I might add is incredibly exciting, and we really can't wait to get our teeth into. It is quite spectacular. I'll take you through that as well. And then I expect by late June to have to you a resource update. So lots to come from us over the course of the next 5 months. I talk about infrastructure, but what's really important here is to understand that there's daily flights from Toronto to Thunder Bay. It's a very, very short flight from Thunder Bay up to Pickle Lake Airport. And then you can see from that Pickle Lake Airport down to that photograph in the left-hand corner, which is the core shed, is only 15 minutes. So you can be in that core shed after your flight in 15 minutes. So access is really good and also very important for crew, changeovers, and shift work for anyone that's doing that. So it's really, really important. We also have the Hydropower Grid. We have sealed roads, as you saw in my first slide, those daily flights I talk about. We've got on-site exploration infrastructure. We've got the 24-person field camp, core shed, existing mill. The mill's small, and we're still yet to strategize on best way to exploit that. But it has never been turned on, and we have a 600 kilowatt generator on site. Year-round exploration. So right now, even though I mentioned that it's minus 45 chill factor on site, we still have geos doing chem work, and all the drillers are working as well. So they're all rigged up. They all have the appropriate gear to work in these conditions. Why the drillers like it so much is the ground is so firm, so they can get in and out and get access really, really well. I talk about 320 square kilometres of land holding, but as I announced on earlier the last week, is that we've increased that now to 490 square kilometres while taking some extra area around the Pickle Crow asset. So that's really exciting and really important to say for the first time a corporate of our nature has had such a large land holding in an incredibly prolific area. We love Ontario. This next slide shows you our neighbours. Really important to understand where we are at a new and improved area of 490 square kilometres. But you can see to the north, you've got the Musselwhite project with Newmont. You can see over to our west, we have Red Lake, which is owned by Evolution, Springpole, which is owned by First Mining, And we've also got the Dixie project, and it'll be great to see how they perform over the course of the next 5 months when it's anticipated they'll come out with their maiden resource. They've had some great hits, so we look forward to that. And you can see that we're in that Uche sub-province, very, very important area. Now, this is the focus. This is exploration in the shadow of that head frame that we keep talking about. And you can see here where we've now characterised, we've updated this for you to characterise those 3 areas in which we tend to focus. 1.5 million ounces at 16 grams per tonne of historical production came from this area. And with our 1 million current inferred resource at 11 grams per site, we sit on this 3.8 kilometre strike, northeast trending. It's really, really good. And I will show you in later slides, but this sub-vertical core mine shear, which extends further to the southwest there, that's really important to understand. Currently, the exploration is focused on this area in the top 500 metres and predominantly the top 300 metres, if I'm going to be fair. And it's got a 3-pronged approach here. And it's really important you understand that. So we want to bring those identified zones of mineralisation into JORC resource, which is what we've started. We want to extend known resources along strike, and that's, you'll see there that we've done that with vein 5 and vein 11, the step outs, which are at the bottom of the photo picture there, and new discoveries, which we've just recently announced, where we had 6 metres at 33 grams per tonne. And we're seeing more and more veins with visible gold. And so the challenge for us is not that we are not discovering gold, but it's the challenge for us is to find those veins that are carrying a high load. So we're really, really excited about what's in front of us in the current. But as I sort of point out, here is the area just here of focus at the moment. So it's really exciting stuff for us. And here is some of the intercepts that we just recently announced, that 5.6 metres at 33 grams, 1.5 metres at 16 grams, 1.5 metres at 26, and on it goes. And you can see here that this is a new discovery, and this is outside the current resource. You've got to remember that, and it's along known mineralisation. So as we've been talking about, alongside this second vein, what we're doing here is we're picking up a lot of vein, visible gold, and now we've got to work out which is the best one to target. And here, this long section, I love this long section. I've shown it to you before, but most important, because I'm conscious of time, is our focus very much at the moment is around this area here, alongside shaft 3, in this cyan-coloured area. But you can see between shaft 1 and shaft 3, there's plenty of areas for us to target. And so the blue box is the focus of the area at the moment. That's where our 1 million ounces at 11.3 grams comes from. That's also where 1.5 million ounces at a stunning 16 grams per ounce came from. But you can see here, our focus now is along this core mine shear. I'll draw it again for you, so it's really clear for you. It's along here, right? This is where our focus will be when we start looking at these targets, these brownfield targets, and really, really unlocking the potential of the Pickle Crow asset that we have. We've got that Springer shaft, you can see there, 1.7 metres at 36 grams. The F vein at nearly 5 metres, it's 9 grams per tonne. Powder House and East Patch here. And one of the really interesting things here is people talk about the narrow veins that we've got here, but if you look at some of the more areas around here at the Kangalat and the East Pat, you're seeing 36 metres, so some quite wide intersections. So keep your eyes peeled for what will come out when we start exploring some of that other areas. But there is over 38 kilometres of lateral underground development here, and we'll exploit that to the full. We're also very conscious of that we have going to take advantage of this winter and stepping out regional exploration. So we'll look at those areas in the coming months. And then further afield, very much our regional play here, very, very interesting along the Tarp Lake Shear. Some of these areas have never been followed up. 1.8 metres at 66 grams, 4.6 metres at 7, a stunning 36 metres at 1.5 along the Tarp Lake Shear. The core mine shear, likewise, I mentioned to you the Springer Shaft, the F vein and the Powder House target. And then there's the East Patch here. Again, 35 metres at 2.2 grams, showing you that it's not all very narrow grain. This is really exciting, and we'll look forward to going, after this particular asset. And then finally, in summary, we've got the agreement signed and done to earn up to 80% of this fantastic asset. We've got the independent JORC conferred resource estimate of 1 million ounces at 11.3 grams per tonne. We'll be looking to upgrade that in June this year. Historically, this mine produced 1.5 million ounces at 16 grams per tonne before it closed in 66. Bearing in mind that some of the great things about this is we have a huge database of over 170 kilometres of core to examine, all of which has some fantastic information for us to follow up. There's a lot of low-hanging fruit that I talk about. We've got these walk-up targets. We've got a 45,000 metre drill campaign, of which only 20 has been completed, and that will be ongoing. We'll look at infill drilling later on in the year and resource definition from these 4 diamond rigs. And I'd hope to put on some more rigs in the coming months, if they're available. I talk about our board and management, but they are very, very good. And with the addition of Darren, I really think that we have a team you should be backing. And then we've got this near on-ground exploration in 2021, which will provide this really constant news flow of results and activity, which we expect by the June quarter, we will have a resource update for you. And that's it. And thank you very much for your attention.
Thanks very much, Ray. You've clearly intersected a lot of mineralisation outside of the existing resource. Does that bode well for a resource update in the near future?
Yeah, very much so, Paul. What we're seeing at the moment is some really good extensions, a new vein discovery. And so we feel very confident that we will have a substantial increase to our resource by June this year.
And do you think, you mentioned there's a prospect of getting more rigs, given the upside you've clearly got and the fact that the mineralisation remains open in so many directions, would that be something you'd be eager to do?
Absolutely. So we have 4 rigs turning at the moment. What we would like to do is probably go to a third rig company just to diversify our risk, and then to take maybe that 5th or 6th rig, should it eventuate out into those regional areas that I'm so excited to go after. You've got to remember, some of that patch here is really exciting stuff with big intersections, 36 metres at 2 grams, fantastic, which will only add to our resource base.
And given the results you're getting outside of the resource, Ray, and the fact that you'd like to get some more rigs onto it, it looks like basically it's a treasure trove of opportunity, isn't it? There appears to be gold everywhere you look. Is it really just a case of doing the drilling to increase that inventory figure?
Absolutely correct, right? So the challenge for us is the multitude of walk-up targets, and we're seeing a lot of vein extension, which is really exciting, but it's about making sure we get best bang for our buck and following up that particular vein extension.